Oh, and I'll just say one more thing, Danita. I will get you yesterday's recording and today's recording, and I'm going to put them on the YouTube channel later today. All right. Well, hello and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Russell Palmer from Galileo, and I want to start with just a quick thank you to Danita Hinckley for working with me to offer our session this afternoon. Our session will be on using the Galileo Bento Search, and I'll start by giving you some background on the Bento Search, and then sharing some sample searches in the Bento, tell you a little bit about the structure of the Bento Search results and how it works, and make sure that there are plenty of opportunities to ask questions, make comments, offer feedback about the Bento Search as we go through. So let's go ahead and get started. The Galileo Bento Search is currently a beta. We have not made it the full and complete default search in Galileo. We'll be doing that in December 20th. So we did a beta release of this Bento Search back in July. We've been making continuous improvements to it going through the fall. We have some behind the scenes things going on that are really going to be nice for this. Coming on December 20th, we will make the Bento Search the default in the Galileo portal. That does not mean the existing classic Galileo search will be going away. It just means that we'll be making the Bento Search the default, but we'll be making it very easy for users to switch back and forth between search modes. And I'll show you what that's going to look like in a few minutes. And then we have made, again, continued iterative improvements to this search, and we will continue to do so even after our December release. There's still some things that we're going to want to improve about how it works, how it looks, and we'll be continuing to get feedback from our Galileo Development Advisory Committee and from our end users. And just examples of that, our Galileo Development Advisory Committee is a group of librarians and library staff from around the state representing all of our different library types, including K-12. And that group meets monthly, and we review various ideas about how to make improvements to Galileo, and the GDAC group often will help us to make decisions about how something looks, how something works, and how we can make improvements to the Galileo interface. And end user feedback, we've been collecting that, and we just completed the Galileo annual survey. We do that every November, and we've started to receive some positive comments about the Bento Search from students there. They like the idea and the concept of Bento, which, to go ahead and introduce that concept, the whole idea of Bento is based on the idea of the Japanese lunchbox, where you have different quadrants of a larger box that have specific content within them. So one of the biggest complaints when people are doing research in a standard research environment is they get this long laundry list of content that isn't really sorted in any way, shape, or form. And the Bento Search sorts it into its component types. So you can find primary sources more easily. You can find news articles more easily. You can differentiate scholarly articles more easily. You can find ebooks in a box in our Galileo Bento Search. So it is a way to separate the content to make it more easy to find and navigate. And we'll see obviously what that looks like in a few minutes. So we've released the Bento back in July, and here we are in December about to release a new version of it and make it the default search. It will become that default search. It'll be what you see first when you log into Galileo. We've made some improvements to the way the journal's Bento Search works. It works better. It brings in the journal content, the publications, the magazine content a little bit more cleanly now. We initially had it set to go to one source, and we are changing it to a better source in terms of finding that publication information. We're going to allow for institutional customization of Bento box positions. And also institutional admin users will be able to turn individual bento boxes on and off. And you'll see again what the bento looks like in a few minutes, but we're thrilled to be able to give a lot of customization to our schools at the school system level. Now, this is something that we have talked about a little bit in other trainings I've offered. And this is something that long-term Galileo wants to improve, but right now, Galileo accounts are managed at the school system level, not at the individual school level. So there has to be some agreement between schools about how the bento works and who administers it. But a lot of schools actually have assigned a Galileo admin person and have taken the Galileo admin training from our Galileo staff. Which we will offer routinely. We'll be offering and announcing more bento training coming very soon. Or more admin training coming very soon. And once you've had that training, you can become a Galileo administrator for your school system. And you'll be able to do these functions behind the scenes. And so we'll also be adding a new bento box for print materials for institutions that have a catalog with us. Now, that'll be an ongoing process as well, and K-12 will benefit from this probably a little bit later on, but we will be able to add for institutions for whom we have a catalog connected, we'll be able to add essentially a print materials bento box. And another function that we wanted to do is to connect the New Georgia Encyclopedia. The New Georgia Encyclopedia is really helpful and useful in middle grades, especially where you're looking at Georgia history and Georgia government. And that resource is not currently, the results from that resource aren't appearing in the bentos, but they will be once we go live with the New Georgia Encyclopedia bento in December. So this is what, again, I'm featuring a little bit here, but this is what the Bento Search switch will look like in a couple of weeks when we go live with the new version of Galileo that we're releasing December 20th. This is not what it looks like when you go in currently, but I just wanted to show you ahead of time and to kind of offer assurances that you will still be able to search the old way. I just wanted to quickly show you this slide where we have the Bento Search on the left side. You see that it is highlighted, not grayed out. So that means it's on and is the default search. The Bento Search is represented by the box with the little boxes within it so that you can kind of visually differentiate that search from the other search. And then if a user comes along and clicks on the classic search, it will be that standard search that you're used to using currently. So you will have a very easy means to switch back and forth between the two different search modes. Even now, it's easy to turn the Bento Search on and off. When we released this as a beta, we wanted to make sure that users could find it and engage it very simply and very easily. And right now, there is a switch that lives right below the search box on the main Galileo page where you can turn that Bento Search on and off. Currently, in the default large image here, it's in the off position. And when it's in the on position, the button turns green, and then you are searching in Bento. This is what the Bento Search results look like. I'm going to cover this. I think today will be a little bit faster just to cover everything in the slides and then go out to a live demo. But as you can see, when I do a search, I did a search, funnily enough, for the concept of Bento, but it divides my search out into different categories. So I have databases, ebooks, scholarly articles, and you can see articles about using the Bento Search. This is something that a lot of libraries have done. News, encyclopedia articles, primary sources, it divides that content out into different pieces, really. And just a little bit about what you'll see, and I'll do the live demo for this in a minute. One of the things that we did add to a bento box, for better or worse, love it or hate it, is if a student is going in. So I did a search here for Georgia and state parks. So the databases. This is linked to the Galileo databases search. So this is listing all the databases that relate to this topic in some way, shape, or form that are available in Galileo. So these would be other places where one could go and search for content. So we have Georgia state agencies, councils and commissions, Georgia.gov would have additional information about Georgia and state parks. So we have that databases area. We have scholarly articles. You see that you get the full citation here on the page. And we did a lot of discussion about how much information to represent here. So we do have at least down to a preview, a sort of truncated preview of the abstract of the article. So one can still come here and quickly and easily assess the article, at least in a basic way, to see if it's worthy of clicking on and going further when they go into the Bento results. You can limit the search to full text only if desired, just underneath the box here. There's a means to do that. You know, anytime you're in the Bento search, if you are done with Bento and you want to go into the main Galileo search, there's almost always going to be some button that will lead you to the advanced search, which will be the standard classic Galileo search with the standard results list. And then we have these what are called pill buttons in the middle of the page and here in the square. And one of the things people observed, our Galileo Development Advisory Committee observed about Bento as we began to introduce the concept to them, was that they didn't necessarily love it that this goes pretty far down the page. So we got mixed feedback. We got feedback that told us to, hey, we really want as much information about the item as we can in these boxes, but we also don't love having information sort of below the fold, if you will, on a website. So these pill buttons are designed to take users to the content that lives below the fold, or any of the content really. So I can't see the primary sources box, but if I click on it, it'll pop open here for me, and I can go out and look at the primary sources. We limited the Bento boxes to be fairly short, so it didn't take up, again, tons and tons of scrolling space. But there is a show more whenever anyone wants to go and see more results from the Bento page, and that stays within the Bento environment. And we'll go out and take a look at all of this in just a minute in the live environment, so it'll be a little bit more fun and engaging for you, so we can see how all this looks and works actively in the system. But just again, this is if I click on one of those pill buttons, this is what you see. It gives me, you know, all of the different articles have a full text button on it as long as full text is available. Within one of these pillbox clicks, there's a refined search, which also, again, takes your search results out into the classic Galileo search and takes you out from there and lets you refine your search results if you want. So that's just what it looks like within one of those boxes when you search. Again, more fun to do this live. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and go out to Galileo, and I'm going to go ahead and log in with my password here. Well, I thought it was. Let me escape for a second, and because one of my passwords has changed on me. Bear with me. Yeah, I'm gonna stop sharing for a second and get my password. This is our K-12 password that changes occasionally, and it has changed on me today.
Of course, right?
Just take me 2 seconds. Yep, it did change. And went for something really long to something really, really short. Got it. I think I've memorized it now. Sorry about that. There we go. This is that one that changes monthly. That you get. So back at it. So I've logged in now to Galileo. And I'm going to go ahead and start at the Educator View so that you can sort of see the full functionality of this across all of the Galileo content before we move into some of the other kids-based views and see how this looks. So I'm going ahead and logged here into the Educator View. And as I mentioned earlier, in order to engage the Bento search, you simply have to click on the button here, the yellow button, and now the Bento search is engaged. I want to point out that a couple of other changes have happened to the page when we did this. So I'm going to go slowly. I'm going to turn it off and then back on again so you can see. We are currently working to make all of the functionality. We've actually already done this, basically. All of the functionality that's in the databases by subject and the databases by type area, and then this Galileo databases search, the all databases and all journals button. We wanted to make all of that a lot more efficient and take away some of the extra space on the main Galileo page. So what we've done, and you'll notice this when I engage the Bento search, this is what it'll look like once the Bento search becomes the default as well. We have moved all that functionality up here to the right toolbar on the page. So if I want to go into that all databases area where I can search for all databases alphabetically or use the search, all of that functionality now lives here, along with the ability to browse by type, subject, keyword, and then alphabetically A to Z. So we've moved all that functionality into one place with one click off the page, so you don't have to manage all of that while you're on the page and look at all of it. You just go straight to, if you're on the main Galileo page, the first thing you see after the search box is the key resources, the most used resources by view in the spotlight area. So I think you all will be pretty pleased with that change going forward. I think it'll look a lot nicer and be a lot cleaner. And you can see the all journals is there too. If I click on the all journals, it just takes me to that publication search where I can find all my different publications. So to go ahead and engage the Bento search here, I can do a simple search, or I can do a pretty sophisticated Boolean search if I want. So if you're an educator, you might be looking for something like school library and impact. We'll see what kinds of articles I can find about the impact of school libraries. I'm just kind of doing a very broad search there. We might see some results. I'm doing this on the fly, so we'll see what it looks like. So it did give us results in the databases search, and these aren't probably not spot on results based on what we're looking for. But we did get some databases that we can look in. I think it hit on more that impact word than anything else there. But it gave us, I'm going to go ahead and actually minimize this a tiny bit so you can see more of the screen. You see if it had picked up on any journals, and I'll do an example of searching for a journal by title in a few minutes, it would have put those publications here. I love this that we've done. This is a great example of how this works to sort the content. We have our ebooks bento box here, and you see that we're actually getting pretty spot on content here. There are things related to school libraries here in the ebooks area, and so that's pretty awesome. And you see the brief description of each item, and you see the link out to the ebook full text. And then when it's got multiple formats for the ebook full text, like the PDF and the EPUB here, you can click on whichever one you like or prefer. My scholarly articles, then also my encyclopedia articles over on the right. And the encyclopedia articles draw from a couple of different resources. They draw from two different encyclopedias that you all have access to in the K-12 world, and that's the Funk and Wagnall's New World Encyclopedia and Britannica. So you'll get two different sources for encyclopedia articles. One of the bentos that we know, we probably aren't going to do any massive changes for it in the current release coming up in December, but we feel like the news area could be a little bit better. For example, we have news. When you hear news, you think current news, and Galileo contains a lot of news, and this news doesn't necessarily come in here and sort by date. And that's another thing we need to do with the bento that we have slated to do long term, is to add a date slider to the search so you can limit by date. Not there yet, but we will get there. But news, we need to do some things that let us sort in a different way, or perhaps separate current news from older news in some way. But we're thinking about how we can do that effectively. But it does have news. I know kids are often looking for news articles. We have our primary sources and our media, which are things like audio or video. content is popped down. So I did a lot of scrolling then, but just as I mentioned, if I'm looking for a particular material type, so in this case, in my very broad search, if I wanted to specifically focus in on ebooks, I can click on the ebooks pill button there, and I can click on it there using the pill button, or I can always, if I'm browsing my results and I said, oh, well, I want to see more beyond the default list of results that the Bento box gives me, I can click on the show more results, and it opens that Bento box into its own sort of clearer, wider box here on the main page and gives you a little bit longer abstract, a little bit more detail. And then again, it still includes that full text link there on the page. And as I'm browsing results, I have a lot of results actually with my pretty crude search that I've done here. It also has a next button, so I can browse within these results, just like I would any other website that had a results list. I can go back and forth within these results. You see, if I go ahead, and I also get the option at the top too. So I can go to the next page here. So we tried to make it pretty, we tried to make it easy to navigate and easy to look at a list of items here in the Bento area. As I mentioned earlier, and this is again one of those things that we're kind of in a hurry up and wait mode. We at some point will change over to a different version of the EBSCO discovery search. That's the search that drives that main giant search there when you come into the Galileo page. They're sort of our Google-like search. It searches most of the Galileo databases at one time. But if I go into the refined search area, it drags my search in with me and it takes me into that classic Galileo view. So it'll apply those search limiters you see at the top of the page and move those over with me. And in here, I can apply limits. So if I only wanted to see full text. One of the most recent things that we've added to Galileo in this environment is the ability to limit by lexile range. So if I wanted to limit by a lexile range for this set of search results, I could do that here in the advanced search, in the standard Galileo EDS search. So just you can move quickly. It just opens it for you in a new window, which is also nice because I don't lose my Bento results when I make that click to refine search results. It just opens it for me in a new window so that I can go out, have a look, and refine. But if I want to come back into the Bento environment and look at the search results that I've done previously, I can do that as well. And then if I'm done with this ebooks box and I want to look at other content, I can simply close it and move on to look at another box. Also, the top parts of the boxes, anytime you see the blue header, that's clickable as well. So you can get into the content and get a deeper list of a specific material type within a Bento box in a number of different ways. So that's, again, just scrolling through there. So you can search, again, just to summarize, you can search multiple ways. You can use things like Boolean and or in your search. And you can navigate results either by using the pill buttons, clicking at the top of the screen, or going into the box by going into the show more results area. And then you can navigate within the box just by using the navigation buttons at the top or at the bottom. Oh, I actually clicked on an article, which is good. You see what happens when you click on an article. It opens it in another window. Again, so you have your results intact here on the same page, and you can open multiple articles in tabs really easily. So that is just a quick look at the main features of the Bento search and some of the changes that we're making related to that. What I wanted to show next is Bentos in conjunction with the K-12 views. As you probably have observed, I'm going to make this a little larger again. We have added different views to the Galileo environment to be better suited to the kinds of content needed by elementary, middle, high school students, and then, of course, educators. Educators being the full view of Galileo. But say, for example, I am working with a fifth grader who's a pretty savvy reader. And as I work with my fifth grader, I'm searching on the topic of amphibians. And I do my search in the Bento area. And I'm finding some things. I'm finding some encyclopedia articles. I'm finding some ebooks. I'm finding some news articles. I'm finding magazine articles here. Made this pretty large. And you can see what's nice also about the Bento search is that we have made it to be mobile first design. So when I make my screen larger or scrunch my screen smaller, and if I'm working on a mobile device, it'll do the same thing. It is designed to make the best possible view for the screen that I am working on. So I made this a lot larger, and it's conforming to my screen really well. So I didn't find exactly what I was looking for. I got some magazines, but I want some content. This student wants something a little bit more and can use something a little bit more in depth. So I may want to. She's a fifth grader, so I want to take her up to the middle school view and see what we find there. So I have my search for amphibians done. I don't want to redo my search, and I don't have to. So if I click now on the middle school view, you'll see that I move my search over. I get more content because I'm searching through more content because middle school has more databases, including some of the same databases, but some different ones as well. So it just redoes my search for me, and I don't have to redo a search that I've done previously once I move over into a new kid's view. I can move it on up to the high school view if I want to. As you can see, it just keeps taking my search with me even when I switch between views. It's really nice functionality our developers built into this for us, so that makes it really easy to go from view to view. So those are all of the basics of using the Bento search, and I will go ahead and go back to my slide presentation to make sure I cover just a couple more things before we wrap up. We do have, if you're interested in embedding the Galileo Bento search into your learning management system page or a classroom page or your school media center website, you can do that. There is an embedded search. Oh, got ahead of myself there. There is an embedded Galileo search Bento, and you can access this. Let me just show you where to grab it if you ever want to use it. Let's go back to the main Galileo page and go back over to the Educator View. If I want to capture, and what's great is these are also available in different views. If I go into the Embedding a Galileo search box area here in the tools area of the Galileo site, I can grab that standard toolbox, or I can grab the Bento search, and this will just embed that Galileo Bento search onto whatever website you choose. It's just HTML code you can pop in an appropriate page. And also there is a Bento embedded search box by view as well. So if I'm in the elementary view and I go into that tools area, I can access the elementary Bento box code. So you can limit that search to just the content that elementary school students can use by capturing the embedded search box for the elementary view there. So just wanted to show that quickly. And then that's it. I welcome any questions or comments, and my thanks for your attendance or your reviewing of this recording. One final thing I will share with you in Galileo is we do have, if you want to present your students with a quick tour of the Bento box, if you go into our support area and then click on Tools and Training, and then Training, we have a Welcome to the Galileo Bento Search video that is in our YouTube channel. We have, you have to watch the ad as usual with YouTube, but you can access this video and lots more videos that we've done for you for Bento Search. I'll show you that quick. So that is everything for real this time, and I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and come back and see if there are any questions.
No questions, but I do appreciate this. I really think that once people access the Bento search, they will really be impressed and just start sharing it with people, because I think it's so much more user friendly.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of good feedback from our K-12 librarians on our Galileo Development Advisory Committee and in other places that have really helped us to design this. And I think what's really going to help is that ability to, and we'll probably make just some general changes as we get feedback to how the defaults look and how they work, even if K-12 admins don't necessarily do a lot of it themselves, we will probably do some adjustments based on their feedback. So we'll definitely make it more useful. We've gotten feedback like having the databases Bento in the K-12 and in the elementary environment isn't really helpful to them at all. They really only have 12 databases and it mostly gets in their way. So, being able to reprioritize how the boxes appear is something I'm looking forward to helping our libraries to do. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Danita, so much. And thank you to those of you who take the time to view the recording. And Danita, as promised, I will put both of these on the YouTube channel for Galileo this afternoon and send you the direct links.
Okay.
And we'll look forward to our next session. I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording, Danita, and just ask a couple questions. But thanks, everybody.